What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing a video called Subscriber's Choice. Basically I asked my followers, subscribers, what you wanted to learn, so in this video I'm going to talk about it. So let's get started on the first topic. So the first topic I got is how to handle half distance wedges. Like these 50, 60 yarders, they're just a weird number. It's not a full swing, so you're trying to figure out how hard to hit it. There's a couple things that you can do to make these a little simpler. And basically it's just simplifying the whole swing of this. Now a lot of people struggle with these because there's too much wrist action at the bottom. They're trying to do too much, create a lot of spin, hit it really high. There's just too much because the more we flip our wrists, the more the loft changes. And every degree it changes is a difference in how far it's going to go. So if we do the same speed in one shot, I add loft and it's got 64 degrees of loft at impact, and another one I don't add the loft and it's got 54 degrees, the distances are going to be very, very different. So what you really want to focus on is to eliminate some of the wrist action. Like as we swing back, there's going to be a little bit of this wrist set, which is normal because we're not chipping the golf ball out there. We need a little bit more speed. But I really want you to focus on rotating with the body and keeping this backside of your hand pointing at the target or a little bit at the ground, because that is going to help you avoid this flip motion where this starts getting pointed to the sky. So if we can focus on keeping this down, rotating through, it's going to make it a lot simpler. And then when it comes to varying the distance, this is something you're going to have to learn to figure out how far you need to take it back. So like for this first one, a 40 yarder, I don't have to think about any of this wrist action. I'm just thinking about how far back I need to take it. So for me, it's going to be where my lead arm is close to parallel to the ground, so I can make that swing close to parallel to the ground. I hit that a little fat, so that's why it came up short. Let's try that again. So right there, I hit it solid this time, which is good. Just short of parallel to the ground, or probably at parallel to the ground, I was able to control the distance. Now the next distance, going 55 yards, so it's a little farther. Now I'm thinking I got to take it a little past parallel, so then I can make that swing. And it goes a little farther. So the difference between those is not anything about wrist action, it's not anything about speed, it's not anything about tempo, it's all just figuring how far I need to take the club back. Basically, the less variables you have during this swing, the easier this is going to be. So less wrists, all body rotation. Think about this backside of the hand pointing down at the target. So the next topic we're going to talk about is curving the golf ball, hitting a draw and hitting a fade. The first thing you need to understand in this is what makes the ball curve. And it's simply the difference between where the club face is pointing at impact and the direction the club is going. So if the club is moving right in relation to where the club face is pointing, the ball is going to curve from right to left. And then vice versa, if the club is moving left in relation to where the club is, the ball is going to curve to the right. So now that you understand that, let's talk about how to make the ball curve left and right. So for the first one, I'm going to hit a fade here. So what I do, and what I think you should do as well, is we are going to start by setting the club up where we want the ball to start. So for this shot, I want to start the ball left center of the green. So what I'm doing is we're going to set the club up left center of the green. And then from here, club face is pointing where I want the ball to start. Now I need to adjust for what I want the club path to do. So I want to swing left to make it curve right, so I'm going to open my stance. So now my feet are pointing farther left than where the club is. And then from here, I'm simply just going to swing down my feet line and let this club stay where it's pointing. I don't have to do any adjustments, none of that. I'm just really focusing on keeping the club face pointing at where it was at address, so I don't have to really change anything. and swing down my feet line, rotate down my feet line. That's gonna make it so I swing left of the target and the ball should curve back to the right. Started a little bit farther right than I wanted, but curved back towards the stick. So now let's talk draw. So it's the same concept, we're just swinging the other way. So what we're gonna do is set the club face up, right center of the green where I want the ball to start. Next, we're gonna adjust our feet to adjust our path. So close the feet down. And for this one, you're really gonna focus on swinging out to the right and releasing the club head through. We don't wanna hold on to this handle, then we're just gonna hit it right going right. So make sure we rotate through and let the club release on through. Basically, if you grip the club lightly, it'll release naturally, just from the centrifugal force of the club and all the weight at the end, but let it release. And there's your draw. So nothing big with the swing, nothing really big with the changes. We're just adjusting our setup for the shot we want to hit. And then it's gonna encourage us to swing in the correct direction to make the ball curve how we want to. So the next topic we're gonna talk about is flighting your wedges down. This is something the pros do very well, and it helps them control the distances really well. The biggest thing I see with amateurs when they're trying to flight it down is they're still like full gas in a lob wedge or a gap wedge. With the wedges, and every club actually, the more speed you have creates more spin, which means it's gonna get more height. Spin is what keeps the ball in the air, helps it get up higher in the air. So I'm at 110 yards now. If I hit my lob wedge, which 110 yards is a big lob wedge, I'm gonna hit it and it's gonna go way up in the air. It's gonna get all the way to the hole, but it's way up in the air. I just really don't have a way to flight that down because there's so much speed, it's always gonna go super high. So what you need to do is club down. So this is my 52 degree, that's my next wedge down. And I'm gonna focus on making like a 3/4 swing. It's a similar feeling to what we did in the first section of this with a half distance wedge, where we're gonna take some speed off it because it's gonna help me take some height off of it. So I'm gonna put the ball slightly back of normal, like a couple inches. We don't wanna get so far back where we're just chopping into the ground, but we're gonna move the ball back about 2 inches back. So one golf ball width back, however you wanna think about it. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna focus on keeping this backside of the palm down at impact. And thirdly, we're gonna try and hit more of a draw here. So the same concept as we did with drawing and fading the golf ball, we're gonna stand a little more close, focus on swinging out and releasing the club head. That is gonna help you altogether hit a nice lower flighted shot. So that came out with half the height. It's gonna go the same distance. I almost made it. So all that together, we're basically hitting like a 3/4 shot draw to help you flight it down. So you need less spin, balls back slightly, and we are trying to hit a little bit of a draw to flight it down. So now for the fourth and final topic I'm going to talk about in this video. There's more topics covered on my Instagram, so check those out. I'm going to talk about improving your driver start line consistency. Now this one's very tough to get very specific with because there's a lot of different reasons in your golf swing why it might be inconsistent. But to sum it up, basically, when it's really inconsistent, there's a lot of face rotation at the bottom. So there's a lot of movement of this face where it's pointing at a very quick rate around the golf ball. So sometimes you're going to time it up, it goes straight. Sometimes you're late, it goes right. Sometimes you're early, it goes left. That's if you're right-handed. So what you want to do to first start is look at your setup position. I want to make sure your grip is fairly neutral to maybe slightly strong to make it so you have less flip motion at the bottom, because if our grip is super weak, we're going to be coming in with a really wide open club face, and consciously you know that if you just rotate, that ball's going so far in those trees right, you don't want that. So you're going to have to stall and flip. This is where all that face rotation is that I'm talking about. So if we can make sure that our grip isn't like this, and we rotate where we look down, we can see 2 to 3 knuckles on our lead hand. This crease is pointing towards our trail armpit, even slightly more. I'd rather see your lead hand slightly more on top of your trail hand, because this is weak. This is really weak. So we want to get slightly more on top with this lead hand. That's going to get us in a nice setup or nice position with our grip. And then setup, I just want you to make sure weight feels like it's in the balls of your feet. So we're not so far away that it's in your toes. We're not so close that it's in your heels. And then we want to make sure that we're pretty square to our target for what we're trying to hit. So I don't want to see anyone that's like this by any means, or feet are really open or really close. We just want to keep everything nice and consistent, nice and parallel. So just think feet line, hips, shoulders, nice and square. So that's the setup position to make it a little more consistent. Next, I'm guessing with part of this question is you're trying to hit more fairways. So I want to talk about some of the course management to do that. And it's just make sure we can, one, find a shot that you feel like you know you can hit all the time. And I just mean make it curve the same direction. So for most people, it's going to be we're hitting some sort of fade, because that's just a common miss, common shot. So if you're one of those people that hits that shot all the time, I don't want you to step up this tee and go, you know what, I'm going to hit a draw this time. No, because you aren't comfortable with that shot, so it's not going to happen all the time. I want you to commit to that shot you always hit, that nice fade. And you want to make sure you're aiming up the left side, left center, to make sure you have the most fairway to work with to curve it back. Because if you know you're going to hit a fade, there's no reason to aim up the middle of the fairway, because then you just have half the fairway to work with. The ball's always going to curve right. So I want you to be aiming up the left side here to curve it back in there. So for me, I'd be aiming left side of this fairway because I like to hit a fade, and I'm really just committing to that fade because now I have the most fairway. If I'm sitting there and I'm debating what shot shape to hit and I hit a draw, my fairway's really small. But if I commit to that fade, I can hit that fade and have the most fairway possible to use. So again, aim left, commit to the fade, my grip's in a good spot, I'm nice and parallel, and we just rip at it. Little pull, faded back, should be in the fairway still. So that is all I want you to think about off the tee, is one, commit to one shot shape. I don't really care what the hole does, as long as there's a gap or there's room to get the ball out there. And if you always hit a fade, stick to that fade, aim up the left side, hit that fade in there, you'll have more fairway to work with, you'll hit more fairways, and it's just going to make the game a lot easier. So that is all I have in this video. If you learned anything, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you want to learn anything else, leave a comment. I will address it and make another video on it. But I hope you can take everything you learned here, bring it to the course, just improve your game. That's all I want to do with this channel, all my platforms. I just want to help you improve your game, enjoy the game more, just make golf more fun, because playing bad is not very fun. I know it. I've had plenty of terrible rounds. It is not fun. So I just want to improve y'all's game to make it more enjoyable. So again, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'd appreciate it. It helps me out. And I'll see you in the next one. If you're looking for a one-stop shop, everything short game related to help you improve on and around the greens, I got a short game program for you. If you want to watch more of these videos, click here. If you want to subscribe, click down here.